I have a question for you, just because I kind of want to challenge you for a second here.
I
Um,
know.
You've
I
been
know.
challenging her the whole
I love
time.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love picking
It's
people's
because she
brains.
hasn't seen me.
No,
I
I
And
know.
so,
Go ahead. I'm up for the challenge. I'm excited.
ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful guest who went to grad school with us. Thank you for coming on. Introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you work, where you're from, and what your views are on mental health.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. It's nice seeing you guys again. So, my name is Karen Reyes. I just got my license not too long ago. I grew up and I was raised in Passaic, New Jersey. I currently have three jobs. I know that sounds a little too hectic. So, in my full-time job, I work with domestic violence survivors. As a part-time job, I work as a DSP with individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities. And I also work as an ICC therapist. I have three families I'm working with.
What's it
Wow.
what for DSP? What is that?
So a DSP is a direct support professional. So we do direct care. We assist them with like ADLs, which stands for like the daily living skills. We basically work in their home. I do like the community inclusion activities, things like that.
Karen, for as long as I've known you, I don't know, I've always admired you because of all the conversations that we've had in the past together and just like talking about the freaking meaning of life all the time.
I know.
And you've obviously have been through so much. So tell me, what motivated you to want to become a therapist yourself?
Well, it starts with my family. I do have immediate family members, including my mother, lots of mental health problems and substance abuse. So, kind of like the dual diagnosis part. I have two uncles who passed away from substances. So, I knew from like little that I wanted to help. I just didn't know how. And I knew I wanted to be in like the helping professions. Definitely not what my mother wanted me to be, but here I am.
Mhm.
What did she want you to be?
First, it was a nurse, then it was a beautician, I guess. She's into cosmetology, so it's not my expertise.
You're finally a therapist now. You finally got your license. Tell me about your experience so far being a therapist, and especially in the domestic violence world too. Tell me about that.
It's definitely a challenge. I'm also DV survivor. It's tough in the sense that sometimes you feel helpless as a therapist, right? Because we can't solve all of their problems or all of their dots and things. I work with a lot of individuals who are undocumented, and I think that has been playing an impactful role in my life right now, especially because of like my own family members and things like that. And just, just having your own experience and going into work and saying, like, wow, I wish I can help you. But as we know, it's not an easy thing, that it's an overnight change, right? And I think that's one of the most challenging things, but also very rewarding.
Because it's difficult for you to see some clients because like I'm sure it reminds you of your own experiences, right? So do you feel like you're healed from your own experiences?
Yes, no, I'm trying. I recently got my own therapist as well. I know we were talking about it the last time I called you, but it was just because I switched jobs. So, when you switch jobs, you have to wait for insurance to kick in and everything. It's a healing process, I would say. But every day I try to get up and think that resiliency kicks in. And I'm like, okay, Karen, like, let's switch faces. Now you're a therapist, right? Now you're out here going to help someone overcome what you couldn't overcome once. But it's definitely a challenge. I would be lying and say here and say I'm not completely over it.
Talking about this domestic violence relationship of yours, what do you feel like that relationship at that time like took away from you?
Overall, like who I was identifying as in the beginning in terms of like loving myself. I always thought like I wasn't good enough, which was very tough growing up because I was also a bully like throughout high school, so both were happening at the same time, and
Oof.
yeah, it was rough.
No, of course,
Yeah.
because getting out of that, then you have it's kind of just like, okay, now what? And you have to like rebuild yourself back up
Mhm.
all over again after getting out of a toxic relationship like that. So now that you have been in therapy, how long have you been in therapy for now?
Maybe like a month now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What have you learned about yourself now? And even just going into therapy, even though it's been a month, like, have you learned anything about yourself now?
Yes, that I'm not alone. That's key, right? That I'm not the only one experiencing this. I think there was like this stigma where I was like, well, how can I seek for this? I'm providing the services under DV, and here I am with my problems.
Mm.
But kind of just, I guess comforting myself, like telling myself that it's okay, and that this can happen to anyone.
And unfortunately,
Anything.
going through a relationship like that, we tend to carry on some toxic traits afterwards. All
Hmm.
right, Karen, what are some of your toxic traits?
Oh God.
She's
Um,
coming for you.
oh
I want to know
Lord.
it all, Karen.
Oh my God.
Toxic traits. That's so funny. We were talking about this the other day at work.
I'll tell you mine too, just so you're not alone. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you start first?
Sure, of course. I was actually just saying this
I
earlier
need
with
my tea for this.
Oh God.
I was
My
just saying this.
water.
So like my toxic traits are if you try to leave me, I'm never gonna let you leave until you like shut the door on me with like crazy glue and like putting furniture all over it. Like I can get a little crazy when it comes to that stuff.
She's in your
But
life
that's
forever.
only if like I'm like really attached to you. That's another thing. Like I get attached very easily. If I see like the love bombing and all that, I'm like, oh my God, we're in love, you know? And then like I give and give and give and the person just takes and takes and takes and then I just break down. That's a blessing and a curse because there's some people who reciprocate that and most just don't, you know? So I think those are my toxic traits that I'm actually still working. I've gotten a little bit better, very little better, but I'm still working on it.
It's so funny. I feel like I'm very cold-hearted now. But I think one of my biggest ones is kind of just letting things go, kind of being very, very forgiving to anything. Like you said, like once like I fall for someone or like just fall into a relationship, it's hard for me to kind of say like, okay, like it's your fault, right? And like kind of like separate myself and give the person space. I kind of am like the fixer, like, no, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna fix it right now. And I feel like people need time, people need space, and I think that's a toxic trait.
So how do you feel like you're working on just unlearning those patterns of behavior?
I say it with like my friends, my family. Sometimes, like, let's say we disagree on something, I'll give them their space. I'm like, Karen, you have to learn because if you don't learn it, it's not healthy. And that's what leads into like an unhealthy relationship, right? I mean, I think we can all agree to this.
Yes.
I don't think it's a bad thing too, because like I just want to fix things.
Yep.
I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm just like, I know I'm a fixer. Like, I always go by this saying, like, live your day to the fullest, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think that's my biggest fear. Like, I've lost people, I lost family members, like I mentioned earlier, and I don't want to have an argument and then something happens. And I think that's my biggest fear.
I kind of want to switch gears a little bit
Mhm.
with everything that's been going on in the world with our new president and then everything that's going on with immigrants. Since you said you work with immigrants, I kind of want to get your intake a little bit on what you see being somebody who's at the front of everything and just talking to everybody and hearing their emotions and their fears and just kind of dig into that a little bit.
It's hard. I've noticed too that a lot of the survivors are hesitant. They're kind of pushing back. They're not seeking services. And if they do seek services, most of them go automatically to thinking that, it's their last day or who knows when it's their last day. I have to say, like, that's where like counter transferring comes in because I also have like immediate family members who don't have legal status here. It's just sad to see and hear because you don't know what's next. You can say something, but we don't know in reality what's going to happen. But I do try to give them, like my support, resources, just guide them through the process, have them seek out agencies that help individuals who don't have legal status.
Hmm.
But it's tough. It's tough. And you can see like their body language, their tone of voice. They'll often like cry in session. And it's
Hmm.
very tough to see. And it's sad to see that they don't seek services because of this.
Something that was mentioned in my company's meeting was that before they were giving them resources as to what they can do, who they can call, and they were giving out like little papers and stuff. Last week, we got the news that we're actually not allowed to do that. So, what is it like in New Jersey? What are the rules and regulations about that?
So right now we just got the red cards. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, like the Know Your Rights cards.
Hmm.
So we're distributing those around. We do have residents. It's like a shelter type. So we do have residents on site. So what our team has done is that we've created a support group where like any of us that work there can join, and we're coming up with different methods and resources to give out to the residents that live there, whoever's taking part of our agency, even educating staff as frontline on what to say and how to support them through like these tough times. But again, we don't know, like our agency can be next. Who knows? But right now, as of right now, that's what we're doing, which I think it's great that the agency is coming together and finding ways on how to help this population.
Karen, you honestly have a very interesting story. I want you to tell me whatever you feel comfortable, but like I'm wondering if you can share with me a little bit of, like about your parents.
My mom had me at a very young age. She had me at 16. Like I said, some of my immediate family members had substance, mental health problems, so that was very tough. She was a single mom of two at the time. And like I mentioned before, I was bullied throughout high school, which brought a major barrier in my career path. I kind of like distanced myself from everyone. I thought the world was very cold. I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to get there exactly, especially with my parents not having legal status, not speaking English. And I didn't do the greatest in my freshman year. I kind of rebelled against like everything that was happening to me. So my grades weren't like what mattered during freshman year. Everything changed as as I went up until like senior year. But by then I was too late. I didn't have like the best GPA nor an acceptable GPA, right? But like that itself was just very hard to navigate because you're like in high school and like you're seeing all of your friends graduate and like going into like these colleges and their parents touring like the different colleges, and I'm just there like I wish I had like a support system that would have guided me throughout the thing. Also, my family was very, very poor. Part of the bullying was because I was like wearing the same pants to school. I had ripped shoes. I was fat. But like I guess the strength I had in me, I knew that I wanted to reach the American dream, something that my parents weren't able to do at the time. I've always wanted to go to a big school, right? A university. I just didn't know how to. I ended up going into community college for like a year and a half. And then luckily with networking and all of that, which is key, I was able to transfer and go to RU. I got my bachelor's there, went there for 4 years. I got my BS in psychiatric rehab with a minor in psychology. And then again, the network helped me kind of stay there and finish my master's. And I think that's kind of where I met you guys. So
Hmm.
yeah. It's been a journey, like I just got my license last year, but it's been a process. It's definitely not easy. Not easy when you don't have like a strong support system, when you're poor, when there's a lot of financial constraints, society expectations, right? That was an uphill battle.
Grad school is not an easy thing either, and I'm sure all of us were struggling at one point or
Mhm.
another. Many nights of tears, many nights of trying to play who's gonna make it at midnight and
No, it's
just
We
not.
all three of us, I know we all played that game. I would
yes.
FaceTime either you or you about like doing our homework last minute.
And it wasn't even like on purpose. It was just we didn't have the time
The
to
balance, yeah,
be
everything.
like, oh, we're gonna schedule this out to not make it at midnight. But the problem is that we had so many classes,
Mm-hmm.
different things due every single week that we didn't have the luxury to be able to start something early and finish early.
I don't know how the hell we did that, guys. I
Dude,
really
I don't know.
don't.
It blows my brain.
And
It blows my
especially
mind. Like,
and especially me and Karen, we would submit our stuff like at 11:59 on the dot.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially like, like I don't know about you guys, but like I was working full time too, and I was like coming home like I remember going to sleep at 4 a.m. just to sleep like 2 hours and then do it all over again.
I
no,
don't
I
know
was
how you
working
did that.
part-time,
Yeah, me
but
too.
not
So
not
like
full-time.
I can't even imagine working full time while going to grad school. But the good thing is that like our cohort was very supportive of each other.
Yes,
Like we really leaned
absolutely.
on each other, and that was like the best part, just giving each other
Mhm.
support. And that's why we were as close as we were. And I'll never forget graduation and just like how exciting it was to see each
Yeah.
other basically for the first time because our whole grad school experience was online,
Virtual.
mostly online.
Yeah,
So it was awesome to see you guys. And honestly, I'll never forget graduation and how much fun it was to be able to just
the
celebrate with
best.
everybody, you
I
know?
remember going into the room where we had to wait for
Oh my
before
God,
we went down. Everyone was just like, "Wait, you're so and so. Oh my God, it's great to meet you." And I think some people were actually at the brink of tears because we're like, "We're done.
like we're
This is
done, yeah.
it. We don't have to worry about this for the next like ever unless you want to go for your PhD." We have struggled so much that people don't even know the strength and
Hmm.
willpower it is to actually go through that process. Credit needs to be given to where credit is due because that is not an easy thing. Anyone going in grad school is not an easy process. Getting in or getting out.
And I'll never forget just sitting there in front of the stage, just being all choked up. Like I literally wanted to
Oh
cry.
my God,
I
me
did.
too.
Like
I
I
think I
won't
cried too.
and like I really tried so hard to hold back my tears because I was just like I can't believe that I made it. And what made me so excited too is just the fact that I was able to do it before my mom passed away because she always said like I always tell God that I want to live long enough to where I can see your graduation, and she did. So like that was such a huge blessing, and I remember like getting so choked up because of that. I'm so grateful that I have met you guys too, and just like everybody else in our cohort, because again, like we were such a team. Like we were in the shit together, like literally. Shifting gears a little bit, Karen, are there any mental health struggles that you personally have gone through that has also motivated you to want to become a therapist today?
I would say that I tend not to ask for help when I need it. I think that's a major one for all of us. It's hard. It's hard to ask for help. On the contrary, I always say ask for help when it's needed, right? Um, I have lots of anxiety as well. I tend to chew my nails a lot for some reason when I get very anxious, and I withdraw a lot. I withdraw from things or situations that make me feel uncomfortable. I tend to withdraw, which I know is not a healthy way to express or even communicate with others.
So then what have you been doing now to try to like manage the anxiety and to like make sure that you don't, isolate or withdraw or anything like that?
So this year, I promised myself that, and not just because it's a new year, but because of like just seeing things in a different viewpoint, talking to my peers or like friends. I know I talked to you, Ashley, not long ago, and I called you and I was having a meltdown. Just knowing that I'm not alone, and like I mentioned before, as a professional, I don't know about you guys, but I struggled with that at first. Like, not seeking the professional help that I needed to overcome like any barriers or anything that I'm experiencing or facing.
I think it's so important that if we're trying to get into this field, it's important to deal with our demons first before even like working with other clients who might also be going through the same thing. Because then otherwise we will easily crumble. I feel
Mhm.
like I know that I've dealt with a countertransference so many times already, but because I'm in therapy and because I've been able to kind of work through those things and process those things, I've been able to handle it very well. I mean, like sometimes I'll feel my heart drop a little bit when I know somebody's going through the same thing that I've went through, but like I don't like react as much as I probably would have in the very beginning. And so I'm glad that you took that advice, whether from me or from somebody else, that you decided to get that help because again, like we can't serve our clients if we're not well either. And if we don't deal with our own demons, because then we just simply wouldn't be able to. Karen, you work with a very difficult population. And so you're doing that. You're doing 3 jobs in total. You're freaking crazy. I honestly thought that once you got your license, you were going to just do 1 job and that's it. I was excited for you. But then when I heard that you were doing 3 jobs, I was mad for you. I mean, hey, you're hustling, right? Like you're making your money, whatever.
Listen,
I
this
love that
job
for
is
you.
not does not make the most money
No, you're
either.
not wrong. So that's why I'm like, all right, I'll give you that. But like, what are you doing for self-care? Where do you even find the time to do things for yourself?
I knew you were gonna ask that. I knew you were gonna ask that after I told you I was working 3 jobs.
She was waiting for the right time.
Yeah. But just like a side note, I work hybrid as well. Like I work remote one day, or it depends. The other two, I kind of manage my own schedule, which is nice. And I do have 2 days off, so that's kind of nice. But what I started doing for self-care was I started going to the gym more. Once the weather starts getting nice, I'm gonna go back to my running and soccer. That's the goal. But I like to spend a lot of time with my little sister. I like to talk to my mom, just like those little things. I think it's really important having that comfort, being able to like talk to somebody. That's really what has been helping me. I also like to paint and draw when I can. I like to go out to eat. I'll incorporate those things into my life when I can.
Being in the Hispanic culture, right? Like, what does your family think about the idea of you being a therapist? What do they think about the mental health field in general?
Growing up, it was like, oh, why do you want to be that? Like, you're not crazy. And I'm like, no, it's not about being crazy. But that's like such a vague word that everyone automatically thinks, right? As Latino parents are always thinking like, go be a doctor, go be this, go be a firefighter, go be like a like they just go to like the broader categories. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to give back to the world. I want to help others in need. My parents weren't against it. But I think the lack of the barrier in terms of speaking English and supporting me through like the college process was very difficult on my own. But once I got in and I got accepted into the programs, mom was very supportive, very, very supportive. And she continues to be supportive.
I have a question for you, just because I kind of want to challenge you for a second here.
I know it.
You've been challenging her the whole
I love
time.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love picking
It's
people's
because she
brains.
hasn't seen me.
No, I know.
Now,
Go ahead. I'm up for the challenge. I'm excited.
knowing everything that you know now, going through everything that you've gone through, and even just being in therapy now, what would you tell your younger self if you could go back and talk to your younger self?
Not to rely or feel forced to be loved by someone. I think that's exactly what I would tell myself. I think I wanted and seek that validation from another person, like even my own, like my family members, right? I kind of wanted to be accepted. And in reality, there's no such thing. You are who you are, and you make what you want to make out of your life.
I truly believe that life is really what you make it, right? And if you start depending on other people for your happiness, then like what are you really doing? I really
Mhm.
think that it's important for you to build your self-esteem, for you to learn how to love yourself, because if we continue to depend on everybody else, it's just not healthy.
Kind of to up it up that question a little
Oh
bit.
boy.
Oh boy.
What age range would you go for? Because we go through different phases at different ages. And so depending on the age, you kind of remember where it would impact you the most.
13 through 15. I seek a lot of validation and acceptance within my friends, within my own family members. Not to the point where I begged for it, but I felt alone and I felt like I needed to seek like those friends or be accepted. How I would have known what I know now back then, I wouldn't have done what I did in terms of being accepted in a group of friends and, you know,
Now, shifting gears, Karen, what advice would you give somebody that's trying to get into the mental health field?
don't give up. Number one, network is very important. Get your own therapist. Every therapist needs a therapist. One of my main ones is you're not alone. And I think, I know as cliche as it sounds, but although we have like those professors that we don't like and, they make it impossible for us to graduate, you have like your peers, right? You have professors that care. And I think that's very important. Also, like financially wise, there's help out there. I mean, I got my master's waived by a scholarship. So that just comes to saying enough. Don't give up because, like we mentioned earlier, grad school is very, very tough. It's not a joke.
Yeah, you need the support.
Difficult. You need a support, build that support system, make sure it's strong. And not in terms of like how many people you have, but to strengthen it.
Kind of adding to what you were saying, when building that support system, don't be afraid to talk to anybody because that's the only way you're going to get to meet new people and essentially know that they're going through the same thing you are. You connect with everybody at some point or another, and then in grad school, you're such a small group of people, you're basically going to be growing up together for the next 2 years.
I absolutely agree because I'm a very shy person on the other hand. And like I mentioned before, it's very hard. It's a process, but I'm working on it. It's very hard to seek for help or support in any way. Like having that pride, like I can do it and I got this, right? But yeah, I have to say, like grad school did help me a lot in terms of like networking and seeking help from my peers. I mean, I can't say anything negative about that.
I'm also somebody who didn't really seek help either. I remember when I was in grad school and I would be going through my own things, Sam would just randomly call me out of the blue and I would just be crying.
Yes.
And like because I just wouldn't call anybody when I would be going through things. So she would just somehow like know when the fuck I was sad and she would just and we would talk. During that time, especially when my mom passed away, I promised myself that I would actually seek help and actually ask for help when I know that I'm going through something. So I've definitely have gotten better to call people and be like, "Hey, this is what's going on and I'm struggling today." Now, Karen, let's ask you the last question, shall we? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, where's your mental health at today? And if it's not in the best place, what are you doing to address
Oh my God, Ashley, you're
that?
killing me with the question. I have to say, just being here doing this episode with you guys honestly boosted my mood up. I want to say before coming into this episode, I was at five, but now I'm like at an eight.
Good.
It's just nice. That just comes to show you that like talking and socializing helps, right?
Absolutely. And again, like I hope this is a good reminder of just like don't be afraid to seek help or don't be afraid to speak up when you're not feeling the greatest, right? And don't be afraid to lean on your support system. And Karen, I know that you and I don't talk often like we used to during grad school, but like I really appreciate that you still reach out to me when you're struggling or when something's going on and you're able to talk to me about it. Like I love that and I hope that you continue to do that because it's really helpful and it really does
Mhm.
show you that like no matter how long you go without speaking to a certain somebody, like
Yeah,
they're always gonna be there, you know?
that connection.
And Karen, you and I haven't spoken that much, but you're more than welcome to message me.
Thank you, Sam. I didn't know you were Mexican.
Yes, yes, I am. Yeah, no, that the things that you learn.
I would have probably never guessed Mexican if I didn't know you, Sam, to be honest with you.
Yeah, from what I have been
What do
told, at
people
least
mistake you for?
I got Colombian the other day.
No way.
I
I
got
thought you
Colombian,
were Colombian. I don't
but
No.
know, but like your accent, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
no,
No,
so like
she has more of
when I
like
speak
the
Spanish, I have the Uruguayan accent.
yes.
Like it's very hard
Mhm.
on. It's very hard to miss.
I remember when she first spoke Spanish to me for the first time, I was like, "Whoa, what is that?"
Wait, who? Me?
No,
No,
no, no, no.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I've
Um,
never heard that accent before. So I was like, what is that?
yeah, I got Colombian the other day. So my dad is from Quitupan, Jalisco.
hmm
And that pueblo in general, like everyone's like very white and like I said, blue eyes and yeah. And I was actually told by a client's mom the other day, it was kind of funny. She was just like, we were talking about like her ex-husband and she was like, yo, Mexicans are trash. And then she proceeds to then tell me, where are you from? And I'm like, from Mexico and
Oh God, don't you
Uruguay.
love those comments?
And then she's like, but where in Mexico? I'm like, Quituban, Jalisco. And she was just like, oh my God, the women there are so pretty. I see it now. I see it. I'm just like, okay.
All right, Karen. Karen, thank you so much for opening up to us about everything. And this is exactly why I've always pushed to get you on because, like, I love your story. I love hearing about your family and where you grew up and all those things and just knowing where you're at today. And I feel very blessed that I was a part of that journey too, because, sister, we really went through it in grad school. But I really, truly do believe that whoever watches this, they will absolutely relate to you and really thank you for making an impact on people and doing what you do because I know it's so hard, especially with the things that we personally go through too, but you seriously are a warrior for being able to keep going because it's hard
Mhm.
and I understand and it sucks sometimes because you have to kind of be a robot sometimes and or feel like a robot because it's like all right, like we got to like turn our feelings off and have to be there for our clients, you know what I mean? Well, not necessarily turn our feelings off, but like the things that we personally go through, we have to like turn that
Mhm.
off to be there with our clients, you know? So thank you again so much.
Like I said, message me whenever you want. I know talking to Ashley can be a little annoying sometimes,
Hey.
but but she may be a little nosy, but her heart's in the right place.
Oh, shut up.
You ended it right. But thank you so much, guys, for being patient with me because I know my schedule has been like a roller coaster. And I
Listen,
Emphasis
apologize.
on
we
that.
got we got you on, and the next move is to get a few people from our cohort together because that will definitely be an interesting conversation
I was
where
gonna say that
That's a
would
goal
be
one day.
cool. Yeah,
That's a
we're
goal.
all gonna
absolutely.
be able to vent.
I really think that we should all get together, like,
We
and like
need to.
go out and have dinner or
That
something,
would
Oh
be
my
just
so
God,
fun.
or
yeah.
coffee, even something like that, just to chat about like our grad experience,
I
license, all
think
of
we
that.
need to because
Yeah.
that with it, like I've talked about it with Ashley and Gabby, and every time we get together, it's like a 5, 6 hour conversation. And
Yeah.
Literally.
I've brought some of my friends who are here and they're basically doing the same thing as us, but they're alone. They have other people, but they also haven't gone through the same experience we have. So I have brought them to like dinner with Ashley and Gabby, and we're all able to talk. And then in the end, they're just like, that was so healing.
Yeah, because we need it. We need it. Like therapist to therapist, we need it.
For
Hmm.
sure. For
Thank you
Yeah.
sure.
again so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sam. Thank you, Ashley, so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, share this with your friends and family. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Therapists Unmasked. Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Therapists_Unmasked. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.